Here we
Yep,
go.
it's on.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Angora Poets World Cafe on this Sunday, April 4th, 2021. And here we are as a six pack tonight featuring six poets. And we're about to get started, and we hope that you like what you hear and resonate often with what we have to say. So I would like to call on someone who came very prepared right from his garden in, in Long Island, New York, talking about tomatoes and flowering plants and ready to give us a poem. So we're going to welcome Martin Rosick. Hello, Martin.
Sorry, my wife was just coming in. But I have to thank her. She reminded me to check the time, so I would have missed it. I will start if you want, you don't mind. I'm going to do three translations by Karel Kryl,
Okay.
very different ones. Okay. And the first one is in honor of the fact that we're missing women. It's called Handsome. It has an interesting little story behind it. Um, he he was working at Radio Free Europe when he was in exile in West Germany, in Munich, and he did the New Year's program. And a colleague of his always came on at midnight, and then they would do the rest of it together. And she was a pretty well-known singer before she had to go into exile after the Warsaw Pact invasion.
And so for our listeners, we're talking about exiles from the Czech Republic.
From Czechoslovakia after 1968, the Warsaw Pact invasion. And the poet-songwriter I'm talking about is Karel Kryl. And this song, and he said to her, I should write a song for you. And next year he did. And she's been singing it since. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share her version of this song. It's sort of in a style of a French chanson. It's fun. And it's a real burn on men. Okay, so let me get this out here.
Would she would she be somewhere between Mae West and Germaine Greer?
uh, not, I wouldn't put her that way. She's just fun.
Okay.
So let's see, here we go. So this is a live performance.
Jednou softy jindy ryba, jednou cherup, jindy samec mravy mačů. Chtít s tebou děti byla chyba, chtěl si baráků za gramec k tomu daču. Teď máš co chtěl a břicho k tomu, chtěl by sát a není komu, slepá hůlka. Vítám, proč jsem s tebou žila, dál co směl, a tak to byla jenom půlka. Jsi kumpánt chořů nul a ničemu, ale sněmu si povídají štěky. Že jsi k ničemu, jsi k ničemu, jen děti děláš pěkný.
I'm going to fade it out now.
Well, that resonates a little bit like Marlene
don't,
Dietrich.
Don't understand the text.
Did you hear? She resonates a little bit like Marlene Dietrich.
Yeah, a little bit. She doesn't look like Marlene Dietrich, but yeah, she has a definitely. She's a. I like her singing.
Cabaret.
Yeah. So it's a different style for Krill, and this is the text. It's called Handsome. Sometimes a softy, then a cold fish, or a cherub, then a loud clown or gorilla. Wanting your children was just foolish. You wanted wheels, a house downtown, a country villa. You got it all, fat gut and thin hair. You want somebody, but nobody's there for your white cane. God knows why it was who I lived with.
Stop, 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 stop. Stop. Kareem.
Kareem,
Yeah.
Kareem, thanks.
Okay. Uh,
I'll come.
okay. Let's try that. Start that one over again.
All right, handsome. Sometimes a softy, then a cold fish, or a cherub, then a loud clown or gorilla. Wanting your children was just foolish. You wanted wheels, a house downtown, a country villa. You got it all, fat gut and thin hair. You want some, but no one's there for your white cane. God knows why it was you I lived with. You gave what you could give, which is just half your game. You're a chum of skunks, a zero, useless, and the gossips all say you're good for nothing. A man who's just useless. You're just useless. You're just useless. But kids you make or something. Today you're the big boss and master, telling lies while you're preaching about virtue. And as the years pass ever faster, you sound phonier while screeching how they fleece you. And now and then I see you're busy eyeing someone else's floozy to chase after. God knows why it was you I lived with. The only feeling I've left is rueful laughter. You're a chum of skunks, a zero, useless, and the gossips all say you're good for nothing. A man who's just useless, you're just useless, you're just useless. But the kids you make are something.
Okay. All right. All right. Uh,
So,
and that. So that's a man writing that.
yeah, but he
Yeah.
wrote it for a woman.
Right. 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 Yeah. There's the novelty of it. Okay.
So that's in honor of our absent women poets. um, then here's, I don't know, I don't think I've done this one before. Have I done his cancer, the social cancer song here? It's one of my absolute favorites. I'm going to play just the intro for you. He has a whistled intro, which is pretty moving, I think. So that will, it's actually a beautiful version. Okay. Stop that. So, and here's my version of the text. I think it's one of his most interesting texts. There we go. No, that's the wrong. Okay. So it's called Cancer. It's about social cancer, not the physical disease. The calls of legal sages and fallen angels sound. The famous graybeard rages from billboards all around, and spring is mixing cards up for backs hunched down in dread, and breathing is a hardship, and the lights stuck on red. This spring grows only dry stalks and snow on yellow leaves, and horror with a lute walks and wears a daisy wreath. That lute is cracked and stringless. A faceless predator with fish mouth and curved fangs is braying from the altar. The crazy fools who blundered swing by the collar. Today the ruler's murdered. Long live the ruler. His wake is celebrated and we keep going. The king is executed. Long live the king. Like tones of cowbells calling, the pamphlet pages cry. The ending will come crawling when herds of hamlets sigh, and each his own cruel warden, though most hope for parole, none can scrape the lime off when it's clinging to their soul. It's evening. In theaters, a few more premieres play. The cherries ripen each year. A terrier has his say, and once more anxious bird flocks rise blindly to the sun, and summer with a flute walks and checks if our blood runs. Now crazy fools who blundered swing by the collar. Today the ruler's murdered. Long live the ruler. His wake is celebrated and we keep going. The king is executed. Long live the king. The blame, we know the answer. The games with skeletons, its ancient name is cancer and smells of carnations. An unbridled horse races, smoke stings till each eye weeps. We play its social graces, and then the record skips, record skips, record skips, record skips, record skips.
Ooh. Now, when he wrote that piece, was he addressing it to the then current leader of Czechoslovakia?
I think he was addressing it to the whole society, but it was after the invasion, fairly shortly after the invasion. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I'm going to end with a very short one of his. If you don't mind, I'll play that one for you as well. This one's, the whole thing is less than a minute long. So I'm going to turn up the volume.
Vyhnaný dostal jsem útulek v porobě, v salaších ciziny, bylo mi spáti, opuštěn volal jsem, pane můj po tobě, pane můj jediný, nedej mi lháti, ačkoliv k pokoji volali rety mé, ačkoliv prosili o útěchu, na hesla o boji změnili věty mé, tě jimž je násilí ku prospěchu.
So that beautiful little piece is his adaptation of Psalm 120, which is, if you don't know it, I didn't before I was introduced to it by Karel Kryl, is the psalm about exile. And my version is, exiled to foreign lands, outcast and refugee, in strangers' shepherds' huts, there I slept, sighing. Abandoned, I called then to my Lord, come to me, my one Lord, guide my thoughts, keep me from lying. Even though my lips cried only for calm and peace, pleading for music's balm to soothe the ear, my words were vilified, changed into battle cries by those that profit from violence and fear.
Okay. Okay. So this man, is he revered today in the Czech Republic among Czech people?
He certainly has a great following.
Mhm.
I don't know if everybody reveres him, but yes, he has a great following, and many of his songs have become sort of songs people sing around the campfire, part of, the folk tradition now.
Okay. Well, I liked it. Let's give a hand to this author and this translator. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we've checked out Czech. Hey, hey, hey. All right. So let's move over now. Let's move back to Paris now and ask Bill Strangmeyer if he'd like to present.
Okay. Let's see, what did I want to read? Okay, a quote from Alan Watts. I have realized that the past and the future are real illusions, that they exist in the present, which is what there is and all there is. Call this umbrella bubble. Umbrella now, containing all the running back and forth, protect me ever from monsters future past and dreamt. The eye of pine trees in my sleep sees out beyond your range, but the forest of the eaten world is still unsafe from those who rove. Pull out due to the gross and real is easily brought about. The gross and real is the province of the walking dead. Those cut off from the pretty world must be confronted here. The poverty calls for a gift as urgently as for a cutting sword. The past invades, the future looms, the present is striven now. The shriven soul must take up arms for other times we hold within. The line of now is rather a globe while the forest moves and shifts, a world. The forest is greater and now more acute, so keep your hands at 10 and 2. But the grandparents with me and death's on my mind, but not now. But now mean I carry a ball full of watery world round my head, except when I sleep or fall into a daydream subverting that now. Live in the now is some hazy advice, as hazy as back in the day. Someday, one day occupies your mind, reduced down to a point. It's all in there, compressed, unsorted. Daytimes, this is where you live. But sometimes my head is pulled out of the fishbowl for air, and sometimes we know how to live if it's all or they're both just a game.
All right. Okay. All right. That's good. So how about number 2, Bill?
Okay. Uh, John Steinbeck wrote in East of Eden, and there is one sure thing about the fall of gods. They do not fall a little, they crash and shatter or sink deeply into green muck. Turn the wheel. We need the time to taste our fate, to drink attitude down to the lees. We are machines that grind and sift the grist that lights our eyes. Where are the meadows they sold to the children, nostalgic for death, but only in playtime in church? The turn of fortune's terms will hold, it will trap the unwary when young. We follow all of us a childhood road. Mine was a farm road, dirt and with gravel. But at the turn is the magic charm that steals the air and changes dreams. The tear in the singer's voice will harden. Songs will merely palliate and consonants ferment, but we will only forsake the twist from within nostalgia's haze. The drill will change, the trial will be held, and the cost will be in the bookkeeper's stash. The machinery will still follow the will, in delighted betrayal of childhood's gods. The myth of childhood's maidenhood, purity, and worth, and inadequacy is never the mischief's cause as we seek divinity in the mirror on the wall.
Okay. Yes. Yes. The new form of worship, reflection in the mirror, how it looks on Instagram. Yes. Okay. So give us three's a charm, Bill.
Okay. Okay, from William Inga. Nobody is bored when he's trying to make something that is beautiful or to discover something that is true. This is called The Other Day When I Was Small. I said that I could, that I was, that I should, as the sun rose and the dew disappeared into the day's imagination, into quiet memory, grasshoppers, bees, and garter snakes moving. A boy exploring grass, the sun bright and hot, conversations with the tiny ground level animals. What did the grasshopper say? Let me go. The bees said, this way, work, and went to work. The snake said, uh-oh, and ran away to hide. A black snake would have hollered food, but in the barn and meaning mice. The laundry on the clothesline and the cooking in the kitchen, anticipating midday when the big bell would call out to the fields. But now all morning free to speak to insects, flowers, dogs, and cats, and trees around the house. The smokehouse always locked and full of hams. Round Aunt and Uncle's cute remodeled kitchen house. Sometimes grown-ups checking up, sometimes asking them for stories. What's it mean? What is the code? Then the garage full of rusted, mysterious stores. Get away, it might bite, get out. That day I calmed a feral farm cat, stroked his back, the only one he talked to, me in my cowboy suit, Hopalong Cassidy black like him. I have the photo. Then lunch, kids on the side porch, grown-ups at a long table, fried chicken, corn on the cob, biscuits and greens, watermelon for dessert outside the side porch, seed spitting contests and sibling rivalry. Afternoon, more sun and running round the lilac bush, then off alone into the cornfield. I met a skunk and backed away like I'd been told. So no tomato juice bath, no brown soap shower like when we brought back a dead skunk's skin and bones that we announced as a fossil, scientific and small. Then to the cave up over a swamp out in the fields, flies and dragonflies, mosquitoes and various buzzings. Cows sometimes walked the ledge and we'd shelter in the cave that spelunkers from the college sometimes potholed down. That night a barbecue over an open fire, hot dogs and marshmallows, then bull bats going boom. Fireflies and bath time. Oh, that day was so long. Its glorious length almost as long as childhood.
Okay. And those, where were you on this farm?
Every summer when I was a kid.
Where was it?
In Virginia, my grandfather's farm outside of Roanoke.
Okay.
I loved it.
Okay.
That comes through.
Yeah, it comes through. All right. What a contrast to New Brunswick, New Jersey, huh?
Well, at that time we were living in Brooklyn.
What a bigger contrast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
What
right,
part of
thank,
Brooklyn?
It made me think a little bit of, do you know Dylan Thomas Fernhill?
Yeah.
Young and easy under the apple boughs.
Yeah.
I like the detail about the tomato juice and the skunk.
yeah.
Yeah, my uncle got sprayed and had to go down in the cellar and take all his clothes off and pour tomato juice all over himself.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've done that for dogs, but never for an entire human being.
Does it work?
Oh, yes, that's the amazing thing.
I had a skunk experience, but it ended well. I was walking home from school and I saw a funny fat cat waddling in front of me. So I sped up and then I saw that it had a black stripe on it, a white stripe on its back, and I slowed down.
Right. Well,
I knew somebody that had a fixed skunk as a pet.
Really?
Yeah, and one day her husband was asleep on the floor and the skunk attacked his neck, tried to kill him because he was jealous.
Wow.
well,
Animals can get jealous, you know.
well,
So that's what Pew was.
Yeah, Pepe Le Pew, I was just going to mention, who's being canceled currently.
Yeah.
Because somebody pointed out when that cat in those cartoons thought that Pepe Le Pew was another cat, she was all over him. So she's obviously prejudiced against skunks, right?
Yeah. It's actually, I learned, in addition to tomato juice and skunks, I learned from when a dog that I was near got into a porcupine.
ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
And what I found out was that from a veterinarian is that if you snip the quills, they come right out.
Okay.
A dog with a muzzle full of quills is an unhappy dog.
Indeed. Oh, yes. This dog was miserable.
I'd
do you
rather,
snip the-
I'd rather stick to skunk. I used to smoke it.
Yeah.
Okay. In its more benign form.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on here. And let's take us over to a second language now. Let's stay in Paris and introduce our bilingual poet singer uh, from another galaxy. I'll tell you, somewhere in Paris here. Kareem. How are you, Kareem? Jafari.
Fine, fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what would you like to do, Kareem? Oh,
Uh,
you're getting some strong feedback, electronic feedback.
Thank you very much. I will sing a song in French. My own song, as usual. It's called Jen.
Well, what's it about, Kareem? Give us a little information.
Uh, a few years now ago, a few years ago from now, uh, I was. Well, it's about a family. The story is about Jennifer, who was a dear friend of mine, and her sister Georgina, and it's a family with a lot of sisters, and they were great friends of mine, all the girls of the family, and I wrote this song to express myself about what I was feeling about them.
Okay, well, I have to caution you. Your balance is off. We're getting a lot of feedback, a lot.
Like if I it's okay.
Yes, that's better.
Okay, because
Okay.
okay. Oh, I didn't tune my guitar.
You're legendary.
I can do that because I must tune my guitar. So excuse me.
All right.
Excuse me.
Well, why don't we have Kareem come back on when he tunes his guitar? Okay. Kareem, we'll go to another poet and then you'll come back on with a tuned guitar.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So please mute yourself and tune your guitar. And let's hear from David Wilson, our, our Dharma bum from San Francisco by the Bay.
Okay. Let's hear from me. Here's a quote. Dr. Zorro leads the troll parade up the Raven Road. St. Cleophius invokes the thistles, fratters for the night, while Trotsky burns pretentious trash to sing the wild wings of Horace's flight. Horace X Troll, Prince of Discs. Here's a poem called Cave Dweller. Cave Dweller hides away the day, grumbles through this tangled head of hair, eyes that hurt from seeing things too hard, mind in need of restated, restored calm, blackened sticks like dreams against the wall, opened head where awesomeness abounds, smiling as that's all there is to do, crying overwhelmed by hopeless odds, hoping that the learning holds a key. Graceful hands pass through air with wand. Hot day within this cave of stone, fire glazed behind these listless eyes, waiting for the rising of the moon.
Well, now, all right. A day in the life, David. You're an
You
outdoorsman.
just another day. Yeah.
You're an
Okay,
outdoor.
here's
What I want to
I am
ask
an
you,
outdoorsman. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
yes, no, what I want to ask you is that a autobiographical piece? You in a cave?
Well, in a metaphorical cave.
Oh, okay. All
Maybe
right.
it's Plato's cave. I don't know.
All right.
Number two. This is a good April poem. I like this one. I think I read it before, but I like this one. Silomar Beach Meditations. Flying eyeball wings across the sky. The bleached blue sky of April, offset against the white sand. I walk upon this beach in the slow loping gait of many miles to go before I rest my weary bones. I hear the rhythm in the waves, just listening without analyzing, not particularly going anywhere. I understand this is a miracle. Ain't it good to be alive? I rejoice in my poet's vision and regret not the times when demons torment me or emotions unhinge me or falsehoods deceive me, for these are necessary parts of the process, and only this ocean is eternal. The irregular rhythm of the waves, the manifestation of cyclic patterns. The diffuse blue light of a warm afternoon inspires one to calm meditations, whilst one would bark at the moon that hangs in the dark sky. And both are reflections of one. Duality is illusion, all the same ocean. In this world of trickery, we trick ourselves. Each of us a Buddha eating pomegranate seeds. It is our duty, our joy to help each seed reach its full potential, although there is no reward in this beyond doing it. Enjoy the drama, dharma, dream of life, the poetry of it, and the ocean shall answer in its answer that is no answer.
Okay. All right. I like that one. Okay. And now, Mr. Dharma Bum Wilson, can
But
we
a
hear three?
continual question.
You have a question?
No, the ocean is but a
Oh,
continual
good. I didn't think you had a question, Jack. I thought that was pretty clear for you. Uh,
All
so
right.
for
Well,
number three, I'm going to do a cover poem from Walt Whitman from Leaves of Grass. Sparkles from the wheel, where the city's ceaseless crowd moves on the livelong day. Withdrawn, I join a group of children watching. I pause aside with them. By the curb toward the edge of the flagging, a knife grinder works at his wheel, sharpening a great knife. Bending over, he carefully holds it to the stone by foot and knee. With measured thread, he turns rapidly as he presses with light but firm hand. Fourth issue then in copious golden jets sparkles from the wheel. The scene and all its belongings, how they seize and affect me. The sad, sharp-chinned old man with worn clothes and broad shoulder band of leather, myself effusing in fluid, a phantom curiously floating, now here absorbed and arrested. The group, an unminded point set in a vast surrounding. The attentive, quiet children, the loud, proud, restive bass of the streets, the low, hoarse purr of the whirling stone, the light pressed blade, diffusing, dropping, sideways, darting in tiny showers of gold, sparkles from the wheel.
okay. All right. Our man on the scene, Walt Whitman. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So let's see now. Let's come on back to Paris and present Jack Cooper. Hello, Jack. Can't hear you.
You caught me by surprise.
Ah,
I was waiting for Karim. Okay. Yeah, since there was a lot of talk about the moon, I thought I would read this one, which is called 16th Paris. Whoop, hold on. I got trouble here. 16th Paris, moon gone by.
now what does 16th represent?
Oh, 16th arrondissement.
The very wealthy arrondissement. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pendant circle, a play on words unspoken. No one dares risk grant speech. Oculus, the moon set in motion, cast adrift. Their assumption, matter of cloud, sound surrounds. Plain indifference, mountainous ages, slow through the mind. Wishes, iridescent, gold, dangled amethyst, almond. Seasons meet overhead. That night, as ever since, recessed within an eye, seeing all what I could not, conscious alone, how a man stood blind, untiringly provoked, incessant in his ignorance, imprisoned in time below. Fled balloon, halo to precious memory returns. So one another draws the look above.
Okay. All right, Jack.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll win a lot of fans in the 16th with that one.
Yes, I was on my way to an interview for a job, which was it was kind of funny because I was to be a tutor and live with. I was looking for a place to live as well as work, and when I got there, the guy, we went through this whole formal interview with the family and so forth. And then the guy took me aside and told me that he'd just gotten fired from his job, which was, just very strange confidence to give me. Anyway, I ended up, they offered me the job, but I didn't take it because I didn't want to live in the 16th.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's hear another one, Jack.
All right. Yeah, I thought in the spirit of men and women, I think I've read this one before, perhaps, but it's called Petit Déjeuner.
Little breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, oppression. I am oppressed. Deliver me not unto that temptation where men are possessing and women possessed. Depression, let me stay depressed. Deliver me not unto that tempting air where men may impress me with savoir-faire. Blind me, bind me, give me t-shirts and slogans to wear. Oh, anything but that. Men are so much more natural when bald, inattentive, and fat. I want a man never seals up ambiguity in a smile, whose mug runneth over, never his cup. Gets his kicks in the morning by running a mile. I want a man who is quick to connect commonplace aims with desired effects, envies his peers, despises his lowers, is determined to reach the height of his powers. He doesn't mince words. He's always direct. He wears nothing phallic around his neck. He gets to the point. He always delivers. I eat glass for breakfast and give him the slivers.
Okay. Okay. That resonates with Martin's reading of that poem sung by the woman about
Yeah, so I thought, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So let's hear wow, nothing phallic around his neck. I got
Nothing
that part. I got that part.
Okay,
Okay. So
so
three's the charm.
okay, here's Three's a Charm. This is I wrote this some time ago. It's about the job market. It's called Demythed. Monumental melancholy, mansion, trees, plein air miracle of the natural world. Hudson, dormant beneath its waves and breeze invisible. Astounding width, the length across it. Everything, even the people surround me, dwarfs my means, my intelligence, intentions fulfill. No job seems imaginable, task too menial, not least ineligible. I am cut out only for idleness, self-devised, privately implemented. In that, fully ready stands quiet invention. Hephaestus at the forge, gods alone essay.
Okay. Rebel with a cause. Okay. So
Yeah.
all right. Now
Okay,
are we up
thank you.
to three's a charm?
That was three.
Jesus, I'm so charmed I forgot my count.
Oh yeah, well, I have that effect on people.
Yeah, that fact. Seduced me right out of my numeric measure.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we know that numbers are inventions. Mere.
Well, that's a good excuse for me. Thank you. I will use that in the future.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So
you
now
all.
we are going to return to, we're going to stay in Paris and we're waiting to listen to a tuned up guitar and a singer named Kareem.
Hello, great interpretation, Jack. Great thing, great thing. So, oh, Jen, comme tu es. Oh Jen, quand tu fuis. Oh Georgina, combien tu sais ce que te répète la nuit. Alors je fuis, comme t'as vu, et puis j'ai bu le mal sans ajout. Tout debout, tout de go, so far ago, tu sais. Jaune vif, comme un soleil fixe et froid. Vert aux pommes, c'est faire la somme d'elle et toi. Oh, rouge le sang, vers l'espoir je tends. C'est la candeur des sentiments. Oh Jen, oh Jen. Elle m'accompagne en tout lieu. Je me rappelle, si je veux, de nos silences alanguis, de ces mots que l'on ne se dit que trop tard, à soi-même la douleur de se dire que l'on aime. Elle s'étonne et s'emploie à ne garder de moi que le fou romantique. Et je plie comme on se fend. Et je prie comme on se rend. Ailleurs, d'ailleurs, ailleurs, là où tu m'aimes. Ailleurs, d'ailleurs, là où tu m'aimes. So it's a short, short version.
Okay, okay. All right. So tell me, where is Jennifer, Jen, today in your world?
Jennifer is somewhere in France. I don't really know where. Georgina is in Paris. Brune is working for the FMI in Washington, D.C. And Marie Vanille is in Marseille.
Okay.
Jennifer est ailleurs.
Tout à fait.
Okay.
Si tu veux bien, je te fais une deuxième chanson,
Oui,
assez rapide.
ouais, allez, commence.
Celle-ci s'appelle Voir une femme pleurer, To See a Woman Cry.
Okay.
Voir une femme pleurer, voir ses larmes couler doucement, puis croire en ce qu'elle a donné, y voir l'éternité du sentiment. Elle m'a dit des mots d'amour, satin, velours, et les matins, bord de mer. Elle m'a dévoilé ses atours, fait toucher du doigt les toujours, et les matins en prière. Mais voir une femme pleurer, voir ses larmes couler doucement, puis croire en ce qu'elle a donné, y voir l'éternité des sentiments. Elle m'a dit, reste un peu, je t'aimerais plus, je t'aimerais mieux. Elle m'a dit, reste un peu, le temps d'un verre ou deux, le temps d'une vie à deux, reste un peu, reste un peu. Et voir une femme pleurer, voir ses larmes couler doucement, puis croire en ce qu'elle a donné, y voir l'éternité du sentiment, du sentiment.
Okay. Okay. Kareem, you're invited to do a third piece. Can be a song or one of your poems.
Yes, this one is called MMC.
Which is what?
Et même si tout s'en va, et même si l'on se perd dans le feu du combat, dans la chaleur de naguère, et même si tu as froid au cœur de l'hiver, ne compte pas sur moi pour me taire. Je te dirai les mots d'amour juste pour te plaire. Ils s'envoleront en un immense feu de joie tout autour de toi. Ah. Et même si tout s'en va, et même si l'on se perd dans le feu du combat, dans la chaleur de naguère.
Okay. All right.
Merci
Thank you,
beaucoup.
Mr. Troubadour. All right. Very nice. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo.
Okay. All right. And now we will move across the water, across the continent, back to California with Jeannie Nakano. Hello, Jeannie.
Hi, how are you?
We're
Yeah.
here. All the guys are here waiting for a
I
woman.
know. Where are the women?
I
Jeez.
we don't know. We think we're going to be like taken down on Twitter by tomorrow evening.
So, yeah, my grandson was there last Sunday. So I think it was, I didn't come last Sunday, did I? I can't remember. Anyway, I can't stay that long today because I have to make stuff for Easter, but I wanted to connect and say hello and all that. So,
Okay, all right.
I'm just going to read one poem, and usually my poems are Tonka, but I was experimenting with the free verse. So this one is free verse. And next week I'll read Japanese. I did find a poem that someone translated me. It's only Tonka, so thank God. But anyway, next week, not this week.
Well, I'm very eager to hear the Japanese language, eager to hear you render the Japanese language. So I look forward to that next week.
Okay, I'll practice. Okay, so this is called Pouring Jasmine from My Hands. I want to climb the mountains to the stars, drop off into a parallel world, find another galaxy. Yet I am here, climbing stairs, taking elevators, driving through ways that are not free. Take me over the mountain, pour jasmine in my vessel. Ah, that's better. With the sweetness, no need to climb the mountain. The intoxicating aroma gives me waiting time. Pour it on. The ceiling falls away. The sky peels away. I am kind, they say. Yes, I stopped cursing last week. Just once I muttered, fuck you, but it was very soft and no one heard me. Another poem, another poem. I need another poem to read. Take me away to softer grounds. I can't smell the jasmine anymore. So I escape to a familiar place, home. Two senior dogs snore beneath me. This is where I belong, home. For the love of honey, Lois says, she is right as I taste amber on my tongue. Now I hear you coming home. Your car rattles in the sun. My heart beats 5 lines. From the window, I watch your footsteps on the path. I hear the door open and close. You are home. Okay.
Okay. Well, you're off to a good start in free verse, Junie.
I hope so. I'm gonna keep working with it. So I'll keep working with it.
Okay.
I
Now
want
you,
to get away from just the 5 lines.
uh-huh. Okay. All right. And now you said you only wanted to read one poem, but after hearing that, I have to beg to hear you read a second poem, JD. Come on. Don't turn us off while you're hot.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll read one. It's not, I read it. It's okay. I'll read it. Because it's a mess in here. I can't find anything. And this is right here. Okay. It's called Blood Red. He lies on the floor, unable to move or speak. I leave him there, that angry man, and let his mind expire. The ambulance arrives, carries him away. He cannot move. The right half of him is paralyzed. My youth spent away living in a den of darkness. The bedroom was only a place for bitter dreams. Beaten by his temper, neglected by his need for wealth, I turned soft with sweets, hands crippled in a cry, my feet frozen in the sand. I choose to leave this place of comfort, a closet full of clothes, vestiges of camouflage for a lonely, barren life. I don't know. I've lost my honest voice. Where do I go? Where do I stand? How can I stand on these trembling legs? God, give me the strength. I must not give in to buckling knees and die my mother's death, her pockets torn with old regrets. That's a
Ooh.
happy poem.
Uh, and you're speaking of your father?
Oh, my father, no. Actually, I know everybody asked me if this is about me. I was very angry and I wrote this out of anger, but it was about someone else. It was about a man that I knew that I watched die, and he had a stroke and he was paralyzed, but he was a very cruel man. And to tell you the truth, he was my mother-in-law's husband. And I knew he was very cruel. It wasn't really true, but the ambulance did take him away and he died. But it's not like we watched him. She really wanted him to live, but I knew how cruel he was. So I wrote this story.
Hmm. Okay. Whoa. Uh, all right. Well, now that you said you would read a second poem, as you know, we request three is a charm, Jeannie. Three is a charm.
Okay, well, I will read that Japanese one in Nihongo. I'll read it next week because it's the only Japanese one I have.
Okay.
So I'll read it in Nihongo first.
Okay.
And you could tell me, did my blood red story disturb you?
Uh, no, but it kept my attention. What about the rest of you?
Her pockets torn with regrets. I love that line.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I did put it on my blog and some people called me about it. So
Yeah, they were
Disturbing.
disturbed with you for writing it.
they thought it was my story and I had to explain I haven't gotten beaten, but I've been mad at people, but I haven't gotten you know, to the point where I just let them die there. You know, I wouldn't do that to anybody. So anyway, here's the Japanese Nihongo. And I did get this, I got an honorable mention for this one. And so someone translated into Japanese for me. I thought that was nice, but I didn't translate it. So this is a good translation, I'm sure. Kimi wa yama, ware no matta yama, chi no uchi ni ichiman mile, fukaku nezaseri. And it just says, it was a contest you have to talk about Mount Fuji. And I read I heard on the radio that the deepest part of the earth is 10,000 miles. You are mountain. I am mountain too, deeply rooted into 10,000 miles of earth. Namaste.
Okay. All right. Well, now as a gringo, I was very impressed with your enunciation of Japanese. So I want to encourage you, to delve into spoken Japanese again and bring it here. Use Angora poets as listening ears for your new venture into Japanese.
Well, yeah, classes start tomorrow. My Japanese classes that I'm hosting here.
Uh-huh.
Too bad you can't come. It's only $5 a class.
Oh man, I'll be right over.
I hate, I don't know if your 10,000 miles was metaphorical, but the deepest trench in the earth is more like 10,000 meters, not 10,000 miles.
Oh, okay. I just heard it over the radio.
The radius of the earth is less than 10,000 miles, so that wouldn't be possible.
Okay, so it's 10,000 meters deep into the earth?
The deepest trench in the ocean is about 10,000 meters.
Okay.
If you go to the center of the earth, that's, what is it? It's about, let me see. Yeah, something.
I think I looked it up on Google. You could look it up on Google too.
Mhm.
Bottom of the ocean isn't necessarily the bottom of the earth.
No.
No, but if you go to the center of the earth, that's about a little bit less than 4,000 miles.
Wow. Wow.
Is it 10,000 or 4,000 or what?
4,000 miles is to the center of the earth.
Okay. The deepest
That
that you could go in the earth.
So that would be,
yeah.
Martin, that would be equivalent, descending into the earth, that would be equivalent for coast to coast from Washington to San Francisco, roughly, right?
I don't, maybe a little more, I don't know.
But metaphorically, it could be
No, but-
10,000 miles deep.
No, but
Sure.
we're close to 4,000 miles from far East Coast to far West Coast in North America.
I see.
Well, in the United States, because I've driven cross country and I looked that up before there was a Google, but that's what I recall. That's what I remember.
I think it's 3,500.
Okay.
Yeah, 3,500 from California to New York.
Okay.
Close enough.
So
But we
going,
still don't really know how the deepest part of the earth. So Martin, you say it's 4,000 meters, the deepest.
The deepest trench at the bottom of the sea of the earth is about a little bit over 10,000 meters. That's the Marianas Trench.
Okay.
okay.
The distance to the center of the earth is about 4,000 miles.
Wow. Okay.
Center and 10. Okay.
You can take the journey to the center of the earth in less than 2 hours if you watch the movie.
Was that Jules Verne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The memorable Frenchman.
And a great movie with James Mason, Pat
Yeah.
Boone.
I remember being mesmerized by it as a child watching it.
Oh, yeah. And a soundtrack by Bernard Herrmann.
Okay.
You know what amazes me is that that there's volcanoes in the ocean,
Mhm.
right, Martin?
Sure.
And so this is this what causes earthquakes or?
That can be one cause of earthquakes. It's also what made Hawaii.
Yes.
Hawaii is a series of volcanoes in the ocean.
Right.
Okay.
And new islands are predicted, as expected. New land surfaces will rise as the residue of upcoming volcanoes.
Yeah, it I guess it amazes me because it's fire and the water doesn't put it out, it just keeps burning and burning. And because I
Well-
saw some videos of it on the computer.
It's not fire in the sense of something burning. It's molten rock.
Yes.
It is
Oh,
just
okay.
very hot. The center of the earth is very, very hot.
Yes.
And what happens is, there are these tectonic plates that are colliding and pulling apart in some places. And when they're pulling apart, this hot molten rock comes to the surface. And that's what gives you Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when the Earth passes gas in a major way.
Vomit.
I went. I went to the mouth of a volcano. I went to the mouth of a volcano. It's called Masaya, and it's in Nicaragua. And of
Oh,
course, you have to climb the hills, the forested mountainous hills. And I got to the top, and there at the edge, you could see it's like cylindrical going down, and it was like belching up very strong fumes. And
It can kill you.
I saw that in Costa Rica.
yeah, and I was warned as I went to the edge, trying to get my money's worth, going to the edge of it, that in fact it could asphyxiate me. And so, and like I said, it was like a coming up like blowing smoke rings.
So
They
you said,
lazily rose,
oh boy.
and they were putrid. So
ooh.
I saw no fire, no molten lava, just simply these puffs that came up, and they had almost like a rhythmic pattern because on that day they were frequent.
Hmm.
So there you go.
I climbed the volcano on Reunion Island and looked down, and it was dead. There was nothing. And a year later it erupted again.
Mhm. Okay.
The volcano I've climbed is it's an easy climb. It's not a big deal, but it's kind of fun because it's volcano. It's the one that gave it the name
Uh,
in Sicily.
okay. Okay. Well, that was a good information exchange after some good poetry. Thank you, Judy.
Oh,
And
you.
okay. And enjoy your holiday today.
Yeah, I have to make some food, a
Okay.
cake and some vegetable dish.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'm the last one on, and, and what I'm going to do, people, is read you a section of a story. It's too long to read in one read, so
Oh, can I say one thing before I go though? I
certainly.
really enjoyed your Blue Bonnet poem, the rhyming poem.
Uh-huh.
That got me to try to. I wrote a poem that rhymed. It's pretty bad, but at least you inspired me to try.
That's what we're here for, to give each other different drives and inspirations. Good. Good. All right. Well, what I'm going to do now is read you all a section of a story I wrote, and I don't want to make it too long, but since it's not three poems, I'll just read for about 5 minutes. Okay, about 5 minutes. And uh, I wrote this in New York City, and it's called 52 Pickup. 52 Pickup, a prank, a joke made at somebody's expense, popular among children and infantile adults. The prankster, holding a deck of playing cards, asks an unsuspecting person if they want to play. When the person says yes, the joker throws the deck of cards on the ground and shouts, "Bend down, this is 52 pickup." Sylvie is a knockout. Clear, bright, hazel blue eyes, well coiffed, curly brunette hair. She carries her slender build softly, gentle motions with a slight gait, a friendly smile, a tentative reserve. She dresses in smart understatement, leather pantsuits, small jeweled rings on her fingers and ears, a slender gold threaded necklace bearded with a toned down circle of dark blue stones suggesting sapphires. She's a well groomed woman. She radiates warmth. Come close to Sylvie and notice that she sparkles. In conversation, She animates her speech and body language with unexpected energy, forwarding a nervous undercurrent when a topic interests her. We met in a deep freeze January evening in Harlem at famous Minton's Playhouse, the birthplace of bebop in 1940s. Beboppers were shunned downtown and elsewhere by the then reigning big bands. Duke Ellington was heard to say, "Them cats don't have a groove. That sounds Chinese." John Coltrane, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Max Roach, Miles Davis, Charlie Mingus, and other boppers used Minton's after hours till dawn to hammer out their avant-garde sound. I was there as a guest on stage with a lesbian jazz quintet led by Lionel Hampton's cousin, Phyllis. When I got to the club, a well-meaning musician urged me to sit with, quote, the white woman sitting all alone. Initially, I went over to say hi and quickly rejoined my friends back at my table, seated near the stage. Sylvie was immediately friendly towards me, and I replied in kind. I signed a copy of my CD over to her, and the gesture led us to discover where we both that we were both left-handed and Sagittarians, don't you know? Having nary an ounce of common sense and practical judgment, I was taken by this woman, surprised by her sudden interest in me. She stayed lively through the night, taking photos of me performing. We made plans to meet again in late March when I would return to New York from San Francisco. Sylvie is married. Some time ago, she became bored with him, but remains faithful to the nuptial pact as the couple combine their resources to sustain a materially comfortable life together. They both work for the cause, for the United Nations. She says they work long hours. I think they're compensated in large incomes. They live in a prized New York brownstone in a gentrifying neighborhood in Lower Harlem, still familied with low-income folks, blacks and Puerto Ricans. The neighborhood in rows of contrasted qualities, potmarks and pastiche. The low-income residents live in apartments crowded, loud with children and domestic fights. Their lodgings are cramped with bric-a-brac common to the poor and those afraid to lose anything they have hold on and could be poor again. Many of these dwellings are owned by absentee landlords, long since removed to Westchester, Dade County, and other opulent oases. The poor buggers paying rents are labeled and blamed for all that's wrong with these apartments and wrong with this picture of urban high life, harshly condemned for all the little things they've done, for the things they cannot do, for plenty of digressions they are swept into. Sylvie's home stands out among the adjoining brownstones. Its steam-clean brick surface adorned with tasteful complements, painted doors and windows, a handsome gate at the bottom of the entry stairs, glistening lampposts, polished, an authoritative security warning saying no soliciting, no trespassing. Childless, they occupy 14 rooms, all resigned, all redesigned, she boasts, customized to their particular domestic needs and pleasures. She and him have a nice fallback chalet upstate in the Catskills. She says, it's a small place, but comfortable, she says, and starkly points to a building across the street, to a third floor window, and says, these people live like animals. Their English is intolerable, she quips in her cute, thick French accent. She goes out alone on weekends as he prefers to stay home. They have an arrangement. On a walk by on a walk nearby her house, she boasts, I live the American dream. See, for all the new owners sprucing up the buildings like we have done, soon all the blight will be gone. This is soon to be a fashionable, chic place to live. I remind her that we're going up to 125th and Malcolm X Boulevard to hear jazz at the legendary Showman's Bar. Don't worry, she assures. I once had an African boyfriend. His tribe in Mali taught me drumming. I am also African. I was made a member of their tribe. They love me. Sylvie is French. Born and raised a Parisian before taking a job with the UN in New York several years ago. Along the way, so she says, she became African. Uh-huh, right. Sylvie is drunk when we meet nearby her place. She says the week has been stressful, so she's taken a time out to have a few drinks through the early evening hours. We get to the showman's and I say hi to Yvonne, the barmaid, and to Mona, the manager. The bar staff knows me from frequent visits. They serve me cranberry juice without my asking. You don't drink? She asks surprisingly. I tell her, honey, I drank a lifetime full already. It's Saturday night, full house. The band is led by Pamela Davis, a seasoned jazz and blues songstress. As usual, the clientele, mostly from the neighborhood, is stirring in loud, friendly conversations, passing greetings to one another, celebrating another hard earned weekend. These folks are sharply dressed. It's the smart set. Sylvie hurries to a vacant bar stool and calls for a dry martini. As I'm greeting the staff and customers I have previously met, Sylvie is sipping her second martini. Within minutes, she's initiated a conversation with a quiet man seated next to her. She's loud, her hands flapping unpredictably in the quiet, polite man's face. I step outside for a smoke. It's a spring warm evening on 125th Street, and it's buzzing with pedestrians, pit bulls, players, cars, cabs, buses, and racing ambulances, cop sirens, and screaming fire trucks. Down the street, the Apollo is lit up, its marquee announcing Amateur Night. There's talk of a 12-year-old performer who reminds people of a boyhood Michael Jackson. Yeah, there's a change of season buzz in the air, and I think, what to be, what is so nice to be out with good time people listening to high energy blues belted out from the bandstand. A few couples are already up dancing to the house music, Motown and New York soul songs. The crowd, the young girls serving bar, all know every word and all sing along, and I'm ready for a real good time. Returning inside, I come upon Sylvie lecturing the lead singer on music business matters. Pamela is politely trying to withdraw to the stage to set up for the first set. Sylvie follows her up front, loudly voicing her unsolicited advice, along with uncalled for warnings to the band director. The house staff is darting looks of disappointment our way. By repeated efforts, I get Sylvie to sit down. She insists that we sit at bar side next to the stage. These people are stupid. I must teach them the business, she barks out loudly several times. I ask her what musical history she's experienced. I played flute. I went to École Supérieure de Musique. Of course, I was trained properly in the classical tradition. But this is no problem for me because I know all music and I know what African people need, she bellows. Yeah, but our folks are called black. Then she rates out, these people should listen to me. I'm part African. No, tonight I shall be all African. Muffled laughter from folks seated in earshot. Sylvie brushes me off with an uneven wave of her waffling arm and orders another dry martini. Pamela and the band start off with a high voltage version of Come Rain, Come Shine. The whole joint's jumping. Sylvie's dancing from the waist up, swiveling on her bar stool. I think that I think that's more like it. She slides off her stool, stumbles sideways while pulling me off with her. We dance. She moves in spastic motions. Not a trace of African I can see. I pull in close and she caresses my shoulders, my back and neck. She gives me a little smooch on the air. Her breath is 90 proof, but hey, we're in a music bar, not a staff meeting at the UN. It feels good. She's clumsy, but oh so sensual. Pam segues into a heated rendition of Take the A Train. She stutters. Duke Ellington is the composer. I know that Billy Strayhorn wrote that tune. No matter how Sylvie turns away from me and leaps on stage, no matter, Sylvie turns away from me and leaps on stage, loudly singing off key, out of tune, while convulsing in spastic dance facsimiles. She almost bats Pamela in the face. All eyes are on her. I pull her off stage as she resists and objects. Mona, the manager, steps up to us and says, Honey, you're welcome to have a good time here tonight, but stay out of the musician's way. And Mo, get that lady back to the bar. You know better than that. I pull Sylvie away and she tugs to break free. Sorry, Mona, I wasn't expecting this. Come on, Sylvie, we can dance over here. We got to get out of the way. Sylvia springs to the bar and yells for yet another drink. Yvonne sets her up. In Mona's ear, I whisper, Make this her last one, really. She reminds me, this is not a drunk talk, and this is not a drunk tank. Sylvie suspects I don't need anyone, says I don't need anyone's help. I can pay. I have plenty of money. Here, look, I'll show you. Mona snickers. Yeah, girl, you the type. Uh-huh. I scold, put your money away. Nobody's interested. Sylvie threatens, leave my money alone. Don't you try to steal from me. I'm perfectly aware of what I'm carrying and what's going on. The first set continues. The packed house rings with gaiety, quiet affections, romantic couples in dance. I'm weary. Sylvie is muttering again in the face of the quiet man sitting beside her. But I want another drink, she demands. Yvonne talks to Mona. She says, Okay, this is your last one, and that ain't no jive. I'm waving my arm in a no more, no more gesture. For my conduct, Mona replies in a hard, perturbed stare. Sylvie rolls her unsteady head toward Yvonne and curtly quips, Then make it a double martini and make it dry. I can tell a dry one from a bad one, and don't try to fool me. She slurps. I drink in the best places, so I know taste. Sylvie brushes me away and returns uninvited to the face of the quiet man beside her. He's bashful, and she lectures him in slurred malpronunciations. I got a feeling this is going to be a bad night, a buzzkill for sure. I step outside for another smoke. I join another smoker. He says, Man, she's something else. Your wife. Pretty girl, though. I'll give you that. I explain that she's a friend and has me by surprise tonight. Sylvie's been asked to sit at a table away from the stage. She's down to double and whines for a chaser. She gets seltzer water instead. I didn't ask for this, she screams, and with a hand flap, she knocks the innocent drink to the floor, and I rush bar side to get a towel to wipe up the mess, and Mona, dismayed, says, Take your wife home, Mo. It's time to leave, don't you think? I agree. No shit. Okay, so there's one. That's
Get my attention.
And I think we all had dates like that at one time or other.
yeah.
That's horrible.
Middle of the night.
I'll read it. I'll read a second section of it when we return after the
At
break.
least she didn't vomit.
Uh,
Hey,
Not yet.
spoiler.
Not
Oh,
yet.
okay. Sorry.
And volcanoes aren't the only objects that pass gas.
Oh, boy.
And being a gentleman, you felt that you had to get her back somewhere. You couldn't just abandon her.
I think you can tell by the way I recalled her drinking habit so quickly
Yes.
that you may predict that I had to, I had to watch over her. And that will be relayed in the second section I read.
Did you ever go back there, Mo?
Oh, I go, who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can tell you this, it's not in this story. Um, I would later tell Mona that Sylvie was just somebody I met at Minton's. And she said, Okay, I hope you have better taste in the future. but she's a pretty girl though. She's French, and they all. Sylvie was gorgeous, and just came apart, discombobulated when she quickly got loaded. So those things happened.
Oh,
She was everything I introduced her at: tall, slender, well dressed, well poised, smartly jeweled, very French, knowing exactly how to wear a small scarf in her hair. She was a knockout, that's for sure. And as you can imagine, on martinis and double martinis, that picture begins to change shape.
She got knocked out.
So I'll save what happens later. But yes, I was allowed back in the bar, um, because I had been there many times before to hear people. It's the famous Showman's Bar, which is legendary on 125th Street, about a block and a half away from, uh, uh, you know, what did I mention? The big place.
Apollo.
No, 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 I know it's in Harlem.
Apollo.
The Apollo, I'm sorry. It's about a block and a half away from the Apollo on the same side of the street. And I read up on it. There's a historical plaque about it. That going back to the 30s and 40s, the Showmans hosted the greatest names in jazz. And it was a small joint that was packed with believe it or not, on this small stage, it, it, um, it had a wooden built frame organ. Okay, so that when people came up like Jimmy McGriff, organ players, and McDuff and old blues players from down south, off this wooden frame Hammond organ, you really heard the authentic sound from yesteryear. So that's how that worked. And the Showman's Bar. It's still open. So if you get to Harlem, you're more than welcome to go there. And it is the smart set. It's the middle class clientele who likes to dress up and come out as couples and are very friendly and very welcoming to newcomers, as they were welcome to me some 10, 12 years ago or something longer when I came in there. Very, very welcome. So there you go. And I got to say that one last thing is, uh, there was this really cute young girl as a bartender. And you know how young girls can be really cute as bartenders, of course. And do you know they were before the live music started, they were playing one soul song after another. And this girl that looked 17 or 18 knew every word to every song from Motown and New York soul. Okay, that's what they do in New York. She knew. These songs were created by Smokey Robinson and the Supremes and the Four Tops and all that before she was born. And she was clicking her fingers behind the bar, knowing every word. So that impressed me.
Hmm.
La la la.
There you go. So
La 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 la.
I was impressed. I was impressed. It's a two-drink minimum. Two-drink minimum. I'll tell you that. So, so what else? What's going on? That was a nice round.
It can be cranberry juice, right?
For me, it had to be because I quit drinking years and years ago for 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 physical and mental health reasons. Yeah. So they were cool about that. They didn't have a problem, and they don't push drinks at people anyway. Just I don't know, a two-drink minimum, which is custom at a music place anyway.
14.
So yeah, yeah. And walking distance from where I'm staying near Columbia University, 115 in Broadway. I walk up Broadway to 125th, make a right turn on 125th, and I don't know, walk about 6 blocks to the Showman, which stops about 2 blocks short, you know, of the other stuff that's going on. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Jeannie. Thank you for reading.
Hi, Jeannie.
Bye, Jeannie. See you next week. Well, we had,
I'm going to have to cut out too in a little bit because some people from Europe are calling, so can't let it get too late.
uh-huh. Well, we're in
Yeah, I
Europe
see it's,
and we're
Yeah.
calling.
I know.
I see
Someone
it's
I haven't
between
talked to in quite a
Amsterdam and
few years.
Morningside, Mo.
Pardon?
The Showman's Bar is between Amsterdam and Morningside Heights.
Okay.
It's called the
Morningside, right?
Showman's Jazz Club, right?
Showman's, yeah, Showman's, yeah.
So it's right
Morningside,
near, yeah, it's right near where you stay in Columbia, right?
yeah, it was like about a, you know how long New York blocks can be, though. It was about a 20-minute walk.
You walk
You,
through the park?
no, I'd go straight up Broadway to
Yeah.
125th, and and then make a right turn and go eastbound to Showman's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was cool. Now walking through the park after dark with the big housing projects there,
Yeah, I wouldn't, I
uh,
wouldn't do that. I
no, you
lived in
don't want you
Morningside
don't want to
Drive.
do that. You don't want if you're not from around there, you don't want to do that no matter what complexion you are.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Not after dark. No, 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 no. Everybody's out trying to make some money.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, it was more direct to go up Broadway, and there we go. And then, like I said, in Sylvie's neighborhood, it was begun. This was about 2000. Oh, when did I meet her? About 2006, maybe. And uh, it was beginning. That's when Lower Harlem was getting to be gentrified.
Right.
So when I talked about the apartments crowded with families and children and bric-a-brac, which was quite common, and then about every fifth or sixth house, which were brownstones, all of a sudden it looked magnificent. The contrast was incredible. And so what people did was they got a big dog. The white people got a big dog, not a pit bull, but a pedigree dog, and they would have these really imposing security signs, out front. And meanwhile, at that time, most of them uh, were not victimized or harassed in that neighborhood. So there's the irony about that. So there we go. So,
So,
yes, and she did. She did have a very large dog. I forget the name of it. I couldn't even pronounce it. But the one time the dog walked her. You've seen people like that, particularly in New York, when the dog's walking slender, skinny Sylvie with,
was it an Akito?
No, it wasn't. It was just a large brown dog. And I don't know enough about pedigrees to tell you what it was. And at that time, by this time, I've forgotten what breed she told me it was. Just that it was rather large and a dog you wouldn't want to mess with. So there you go. And like I said, I never learned his name. She just called, like it's done today. She just called him like by gender, he and him. You know, he stays home. Yes, I talked to him earlier and never did divulge his name.
I haven't got the hang of people who have their preferred um, gender label at the end of their names, like on Zoom and stuff. It's like